Hi, I'm Rachel Lauren, and this is Money Therapy. I've been starting to think a lot about having kids. I've been getting a lot of content on TikTok around moms and tips for moms. My husband and I have been talking about it because all of our friends are starting to have kids. I'm starting to feel a little bit of that FOMO, but at the same time, I'm like, can we really afford this? We have a decent income, but like, what do we really need in order to afford having kids? We don't really feel ready yet. We want to be in a more financially stable place. At the same time, we realize we're always going to say that to ourselves, and like, will it ever really be the right time? So how much do you really need to raise a kid? So there's a trend going around on TikTok where people are looking at their paychecks and they're wondering how the heck anyone is raising kids on that same paycheck.
Switch states, touchdown foreign place. Ain't no way, ain't no fucking.
So growing up, I always learned that when you have a kid, it almost propels you to make more and get resourceful about actually supporting and raising that kid. Now, I obviously think that is probably survival bias. All the people that worked for, right, that were able to make more money and they were successful, more successful after having kids, they go out and they talk about how amazing it was. All of the people where that didn't really happen, obviously, are not sitting around telling everybody how that's not true. According to Credit Karma and a study done by the Department of Agriculture in the US, the average cost to raise a child is $233,000 from the age of when they're born to 17. So that rounds out to about $13,000 a year or around $1,000 a month. Now, obviously, it's not spread out exactly that. Usually when they're little, they cost less than when they get older. So when they get older, now you have activities and they want more expensive toys like Macs and iPhones and all these other things. They start to eat more than when they're babies. And so, that starts to get more expensive. Now, this number from the Department of Agriculture assumes a lot of things. It assumes that you change your living situation because you need a bigger house. Maybe you move to a more expensive neighborhood that has better schools or is more safe, that your transportation costs go up because you're driving the kid around everywhere. It assumes all these things, that you're paying a lot for toys and clothes. And yeah, there's probably some wiggle room on a lot of those numbers. Like, there's probably a lot of ways to cut corners and to save money, like carpooling, fitting in bunk beds, trying to get resourceful with the space that you have. But honestly, if I sat down and looked at my own finances today and I told myself that I had to pay an extra $1,000 a month to support a child, there's no way. Like, we would be at zero savings a month. We would basically just be breaking even on what we're making. That being said, we'd probably also not be going out to restaurants as much. We wouldn't be traveling as much. And so maybe it would actually be a wash. So we save money in those areas. Now we're spending more supporting the child. So it could be that it ends up probably in the same place that we are today. That being said, for people who don't already spend and don't already earn what we earn, $1,000 a month is crazy. It's a lot of money. It's not money that people can just whip out of nowhere. And so how are people actually handling this? So if you're mid to lower income, there's a lot of programs out there, and there's a lot of places that people don't realize that they could get extra money or save money. So for example, there's things like WIC. There's food stamps. There's local community organizations that donate food for people who can't afford it for their children. There's also, those same community organizations also offer free after-school activities. Most cities offer free after-school activities for low-income households. So it's about finding those areas where you're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars for a child to like go play lacrosse after school, where you'll be able to save money. And by the way, even if you're not low income, try to look into some of these programs, because then maybe you'll be saving more money. You don't need to go spend thousands and thousands of dollars for them to go to some like expensive swim class when they can go down the block to their local YMCA. So I have a little bit of a crazy idea when it comes to teaching kids about money, or just in general, like dealing with kids and money. And hear me out, guys. This is the concept. You give your child an allowance, but that allowance is earned. It's not just given. They have to earn it by doing chores around the house. Now, obviously, if you're low income and you barely have enough money to support the family, this is not really an option for you. But let's say you're middle income. So you give your child an allowance for doing chores. Now, that allowance they can use to spend on activities, things to do with their friends, different toys and extras that they want. So basically, if they come to you and they say, hey, mom, I want to go to the mall with my friends and I want to go watch a movie, you say, you earn money, you need to go, pay for that yourself instead of just giving them the money for it. Now they're starting to actually learn about the concept of money as opposed to just thinking of you as a piggy bank. Let's say they maybe aren't such great spenders and, they don't really budget and they want to go to the movies and they don't have enough money for it, or they want to go on some class trip, they don't have enough money for it. They come to you. You could say, sure, I'll give you the money, but you have to borrow it and then you'll have to pay it back. So you create a payment plan with them where they actually start to kind of learn about the idea of debt in a safe environment. And in order to pay that back, they have to do extra chores, right? Just like any adult would, right? If you need the money, you get a loan. Unfortunately, that's the reality for many Americans, and they go try to make the money to pay that loan back. Now, obviously, don't charge your child interest. I think that's horrible. But the idea is to start to get them acquainted with the idea of how the financial system works. And then you could also give them consequences if they don't pay the debt off, right? Like maybe they'll be grounded or maybe they get less screen time. I know a lot of people tend to think that the idea of an allowance will make a kid entitled, right? Like if you give a child an allowance, they'll think, oh, like I just deserve this money.
I don't hate commercial flights, but that's because I haven't been on that many.
Yeah,
and
well, you're going to be on a bunch of them in your life, trust me.
Why would you wish that on me?
No, you will.
Do you
be.
hate me?
No, but you will be because,
Fine.
when you guys move out, you won't have access to some of the stuff you have now. And
Who knows? Maybe I'll get a really good role in some really good movie. I'll make $16 billion.
Well, if you make $16
I'll have
billion,
my
you
own
can have
plane.
any plane you want. But
Exactly.
the chance that's never happened to an actor before.
Yeah, it has. I mean, not $16 billion, but maybe $16 million.
That won't buy a plane.
What?
You'll be
How
fine.
much are planes?
And I think if you did just give it to them, yes, it would make them spoiled and make them think that they just deserve it, which is why, you should tie it to a specific outcome, right? Whether that's a chore, whether that's getting good grades or other incentives, other things that you want them to do, tie the money to that so that they start understanding this concept of good work and reward. So that when they're adults, they start to understand the value of money and also they understand the value of incentives and doing good work as adults. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you think it's impossible to raise children in this day and age? Is it way too expensive? Are you doing it currently? Are you struggling doing it currently? Do you give your child an allowance? Do you think it's a bad idea, a good idea? I want to hear all of your guys' opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, why am I even here? I'm the co-founder of a company called Debbie, which we do awesome things. We offer people cash rewards for reaching their financial goals. So at the end of the day, all these videos are to get you to actually just download the app. So go download the app and go make me some more money so that I can go have kids and be able to afford them. Thank you.